I can walk the aisles of a hardware store for hours, looking at parts, pieces, tools, thinking about how I'm going to combine them to solve various home improvement issues. Airtable for me is the exact same thing. It's like a digital hardware store. You're presented with a problem, you walk the aisles, you think about the tools and how you're going to combine them, and then you just start building. Nothing is more empowering to me than when you realize that you've picked the right tools, you've combined them correctly, and you got the thing to work. In this video, I'm going to show you how I use Airtable to track artist growth in real time using the following set of tools: date field, single select field, roll-up field, lookup field, date add formula, switch function, if statement, and a custom view. In the artist table, add a date field. Call it last metrics check, followed by a single select field, and we'll call this one priority. And we'll give it some options: low, mid, high, and off. Open up a formula field, call it next metrics check, and I'm going to drop a formula in here and walk you through it. First line basically says, if you have a value for last metrics check and the priority fields, then display the formula below. Otherwise, do nothing. And the formula below is a date add function that allows you to add a number of days to the last metrics check, which will represent the next time we want to check the artist metrics. The switch formula in here turns the priority field into a numerical value that allows us to assign a number of days, or I call it a frequency, that we want to check artist metrics based on what we deem the artist's priority to be. If the artist is hot, we'll set them to high, and that value will be 1, so we'll check every day. If their artist priority is mid, we'll check every 7 days, and if the artist priority is low, we'll check every 14 days. Create the field. So if we take Gracie Bond, and we consider that artist to be of mid-level priority, and then go back a week, then we're seeing that May 6th, today, is the next day that that artist is supposed to be checked for social growth. Had it had been priority low, we wouldn't be checking until next week, and had it had been high, it would have checked the very next day. So let's put that back on mid, create the view upon which the artist growth checker automation is going to trigger. So we'll call this artist metrics trigger live, for instance. Give it a quick description. We'll say referenced in make.com scenario or whatever, just so people know not to mess with it. And then we'll limit this by where next metrics check is on or before today. So now in this view, you're only ever going to see artists whose combination of priority and last metrics check value has deemed them ready to be checked again. Now let's head into make.com, where I've pre-built a scenario to check for artist growth. The first module checks the view for any records. So if any artists have a priority and a last checked date field that puts them in line to be checked today, they'll be in that field. Let's run that. You'll see it returned 1 bundle for Gracie Bond. If there were 2 or more bundles, they would all be listed here in sequence, and they would run iteratively through the scenario one at a time. Then go into sound charts, check for the current social media stats. In this case, we're looking for TikTok. Then create the artist metrics record back in Airtable, where we're including the date from the last time it was checked, and also the TikTok follower account number, similar to the way we did in the last video where we populated 90 days of this information. Now we're just populating the most recent day. And then this is the key here. The last step in this scenario, you need to go back into the artist and you need to update the last metrics check field such that the whole cycle gets restarted again. So what's going to happen is we're going to run this, and at the end, the last metrics field is not going to say April 29th. It's going to say May 6th. And then if this says May 6th, then this is going to say May 13th. And then when May 13th comes, it's going to get checked again. And if for some reason along that line, somebody were to change this to high priority for any reason, then that timeline would get sped up and it would start to happen on a daily basis. So here we go. Run once, check, 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 check. Come back into Airtable. You see that artist record has left the trigger view because the date no longer meets the requirements. Now let's come into the artist metrics table, and you see there's been a new artist metrics record that's been added that says that on May 4th, Gracie Bond has been registered as having 2.2 million TikTok followers. And then back into the artist table, let's look at Gracie Bond's record. And now last metrics check has been updated to May 6th, and the next metrics check has been updated to May 13th. Now, if you made it this far in the video, you deserve a reward. So here it is. I'm going to show you how we then roll up the most recent TikTok follower information from the artist metrics table back into the artist table for display in the interface. Step 1, create a roll-up field called most recent artist metrics. And that's going to be a roll-up of the artist metrics where we're going to find the field and we're going to use the formula max values. Basically what that does is it goes into the artist metrics table and it says of all the artist metrics that we have for this specific artist, remember it's a one-to-many relationship, what's the most recent or the greatest date value that you can find? And there you go. You see this as May 4th. Now you come back into the artist metrics table. You look up that value. So we'll say most recent artist metrics. And you create a formula field. And I like to call this is most recent ? Now you basically say if the date of the artist metrics record equals the date of the most recent artist metrics record looked up from the artist, then say true. And then if you want to be fancy, you can format that to look like a single select option. Create the field. And then now you very simply see that this is the most recent. And now you go back to the artist table and you do another roll-up field. And you call this one TikTok followers. And that's a roll-up of the artist metrics table of the TikTok followers field using max values conditioned by where is most recent is true. There you go. Now you see that Gracie Bond has 2,200 followers. And if we check next week or tomorrow and that moves to 2.3 million or 2.4 million, this number will change dynamically because that new date value is going to be added on here. And that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.